Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shadebeast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers, posters from the Shadebeast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shadebeast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth. Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I'm your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now, let's get this show on the road. What's going on, metalheads? Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. This week, holy shit. We have Unholy Altar from Philly, and the rawness of the black metal is running through my fucking veins this week. So fucking mad at the world anymore. It just seems like, yeah. Nah, man, you know how I've been the last couple of weeks, but anyways, fuck yeah. Fucking Unholy Altar, finally. This was like an episode like a month in the making. It's like, we would schedule something and then one of us would have to cancel, and then it's like, fuck, when is this ever gonna happen? And finally it did, like a couple weeks back. It was actually a weird one because my friend Jessica from Indianapolis came down and was just like, hey, motherfucker, do you want to go to Nashville? And I was like, I got an interview at like 3 o'clock. She was like, fuck it, do the interview and we'll go after. So we did. And she sat in and listened, didn't make a peep. I think she giggled a couple of times. You might hear it. I don't know. It's pretty fucking funny, regardless. But yeah, so that was a pretty cool deal. I just actually retrofitted the forge here. I got this brand new desk. It's actual wood desk and not a rickety squeaky fucking table that you can hear in every episode. Now you just hear now maybe you don't even fucking hear the chair or the interstate behind my house or any of that shit, right? Because why the fuck not? Yeah, so Unholy Altar from Philly, black metal at its rawest, and it's kicking ass. So we're gonna check in with them here in just a minute. We're gonna keep my part of this kind of short and sweet this week. Athena is back for her anniversary installment of Metal Mischief.
You know, life is a fucking trip, man. And what can you do but maybe drink on it? So, before I get into everything, I just want to say, here's to you, Killjoy. I miss you every day, brother. And I would do anything to fucking, just put my arms around you one more time and fucking, give you noogies. You hated that. Anyway, here's to you, Killjoy. You will never be forgotten. I promise you that. Misfits and miscreants. Bangers and mashers. Deviants and the deviated, the tormented and the fermented, ghouls and goblins, creatures of the night. Jack those headphones, crank that volume to max, spark it up and just relax. It's time for your deadly dose. Welcome to the anniversary edition of Metal Mischief. That's right. This is me celebrating 1 year of doing metal album reviews for the Metal Forge Radio. And I've got to say, it's been a very dark and beautiful long stage trip. I wouldn't change it for the world. So, for so many reasons, the universe brought this all together on my anniversary edition. But I have a very special episode today because we're going to go retro. We're going to step back just a year because they are also celebrating 1 year of a new release, their first release, and a momentous moment for them as far as going on tour and everything else, which we will talk about in just a little while. But let's just say this episode of Metal Mischief is full of just ironic coincidences, so to speak. Anyway, without further ado, because I've kept you in all this suspense, on today's anniversary lineup for Metal Mischief, Selfgod, Born of Death. So, even though we're going to do an old school review, I'm going to keep you up to date with things because they just toured, actually, and it was 14 dates down like the East Coast, and interestingly enough, I got to catch them at Metal Monday, which you hear me talk about often here on Metal Mischief because, it's local, always support local, and it's free metal every fucking Monday. if you are a metalhead, why are you not there every fucking Monday? I try to be. Life does get in the way though sometimes. But anyway, Metal Monday on February 20th, I got to see Selfgod play. And it's interesting because Brian Omer from the Stonecutters posted about booking Selfgod, and so when I looked it up, I was astonished to see that it was somebody that was affiliated with somebody very close to me, actually. So that's like the beginning of this story, okay? Because life is a long, strange trip, as Jim Morrison said, but I'm more than willing to take it. So, alright. And you're going there with me. Come on, you're going there with me. Alright. So, Selfgod is a one-man project from Pittsburgh. Also, what the fuck, I'm from Pittsburgh. Okay. And then, he's ex-Necrophagia and ex-Autumn guitarist Serge Streltsov. And this is his first full-length album, and Born to Death is a ripper for his first full-length album, which he does by himself because he's the one-man show, right? But, you know, of course he has help, and we will get to that in a minute. But I just want to say that this is like some good blackened death metal with like vibes of like Belphegor and like some nods and shit to more of like that classic death metal era. It's very masterfully constructed, and it's like methodical metal, if you know what I mean. So his debut album definitely impresses. So, as I mentioned, like, you know, even though he wrote everything, he can't do it all by himself, right? So, you're gonna have to have help along the way a little bit. So he had Scott Fuller from Morbid Angel on drums playing with him. So, if you mix Scott's background with Morbid Angel and Serge's background with Necrophagia, you get this, like, really beautiful, like, old school tones, old school sound, you know, and I love that it has, like, the heavy nods to, like, a more distorted time of death metal. I mean, those undertones and the, you know, the grittiness of it was just very appealing about this album. So, you know, if you've been watching my Metal Mischiefs or listening to, because I know the video Mischiefs are kind of new, but if you've been listening on Mark Jackson's Metal Forge podcast over the last year, you know I'm a huge fan of death metal, especially old school death metal. So, that automatically grabbed my attention for this album because it had that really beautiful, like, gritty, old school sound. And, you know, but then on top of that, though, they took and they kind of smeared, like, this veneer of black metal. Ukrainian black metal, actually. Ukrainian black metal. And as I mentioned earlier, they are actually celebrating 1 year of Born of Death, and because it was released on February 24th, literally the day before my 1 year anniversary of Metal Mischief. So, and ironically, also enough, right around that same time that the Russians waged war on the Ukrainians, a very just peaceful country, minding their own fucking business. And then Putin, that motherfucker, had to come in and just interrupt everything like a motherfucker that he is. So, and then ironically enough, Serge is Ukrainian. He's from the Ukraine. I'm also Ukrainian, and It's just fucking crazy the way the universe works. I'm telling you, you don't even know the fucking depths of it. Anyway, enough about that. Fuck you, Putin. Fuck you, Russia. Stupid. There's a war been going on for a year that is just pointless and needless, and it's infuriating. Anyway, it just fuels good metal, though. Because, you know, yeah, ironically enough, Selfgod's new album came out right at the beginning of the war, too. And him, you know, Surge coming from the Ukraine. It's just kind of like, what the fuck, right? Anyway, moving on to more pleasant things, which is this album. The universe aside, it can only delve out so much, and then we have to take the reins back in. So, anyway, so they actually just finished a tour. It was 14 days along, like, the East Coast. And with a bit of coincidence, or the universe, whatever the fuck, I was able to catch them twice on this tour. I go down there and I get to catch them at Metal Monday, and then, like, literally 4 days later, I had to go to Brooklyn to film with Trauma and Lloyd Kaufman, and I'm sitting there on the shitter. We had just got off the plane and got to our Airbnb, and I'm sitting there on the shitter, and I'm like scrolling through FaceCrack, right? And I see that Selfgod has posted that they are now in Brooklyn, and they were rounding off their tour at this place called Kingsland. I think it was Kingsland. And so I'm like, holy shit, and I realized that they're only 2 miles, the venue that they're playing at, it's only 2 miles from my Airbnb. So I was like, holy shit. So I reach out to Surge, and I end up going down there, and fucking, like, I just couldn't believe it. It was just really cool, man. You know, I got to see them twice, and I got to actually see them round off the end of their tour, which is really, really cool. And there was, a good crowd for it, and the energy was good, so it was awesome. And I'm very fortunate that I got to see them twice on this tour. So, because I mean, only 14 dates, you know, like, that's pretty cool. So, but of course, like, you know, Surge can't play all the instruments and shit by himself, so he had a touring band with him, and, you know, we got to give them kudos for touring with him and shit, because Scott actually wasn't touring with them. He was just like an in-studio kind of thing, apparently, and, it's probably because he had, like, more morbid things to do, or something, I don't know, but, I gotta say, like, overall, it's a very enjoyable album, so, we're getting towards the end here, so I know what you're waiting for. You're waiting for my 5-shot review, right? Right. But first, I want to talk about working at Better Days Records. I'm constantly looking for bands to bring me awesome music that I can stock in the store so that I can broaden horizons and, blacken teenage souls. But no, seriously. Hit me up, man. I need your music. I want your music. Let's fill up the metal section at Better Days Records, okay? So just hit me up. And then I'm there every Saturday too. Well, unless I'm filming in New York and running into Selfgod. Anyway, hit me up, man. I need your shit. Alright, so also, as I said, this is my 1-year review, so go to Metal Forge. You can go back and see all the different ones from the past year, and you can listen to all the Metal Mischief reviews I've done over the past year. I have covered a plethora of awesome music in the last year. So, if you find it, entertaining to your eardrums, then, tune in and check out more of my reviews made by them. And I think this is like my 5th, video Mischief, maybe? I don't know. I'm not really good at this kind of stuff because I like to drink bourbon when I'm doing this shit. Speaking of. So that's that, dear Metal Mischiefs. And now it is time for Athena's 5-shot review. So if you have been sleeping through class, here are the rules. I needed 5 shots to get through the motherfucker. Now, 4 shots. Meh. Could've used some. 3 shots. Good. Made me air drum and bang my head. 2 shots. Really good. Put that shit in the glove box for traveling. And 1 shot. Excellent. I'll probably have a hangover in the morning. So, insert shitty drum roll here. I'm going to give Selfgod's debut album from 2022 1 shot. Excellent! I have listened to this album so many times. I definitely had a hangover in the morning. So, until we meet again, remember, keep it heavy. That's a wrap!
Dude, like, for real, I love this. I collect CDs and stuff. I'm not a vinyl collector for what it's worth, because, like, I don't want to have a bazillion fucking vinyl, because while it is a good thing and it's cool to listen to occasionally for me, man, like, I've got like a 500 disc changer, so it's easier for me to just pop a disc in, write it on the list, and go. And then just sit there and hit the random button and see what comes up. Or if I'm in the mood to listen to something, I've got the master list to check it out. But, like, this Digipack case is so smooth and sweet looking, Like, the logo is great. Then it's got, like, the skull in there with, like, the purple night sky. And the name of the album is called Born of Death from Selfgod. And, on the back, it's got a black back with actually a purple logo. And it's got, of course, the track listing. But then there's, like, piles of skulls and bones and stuff. But what's really cool about it is it's like a black and purple overall look, and which I always think is great. But, like, on the inside, it does have the lyrics and stuff like that, which I think is a great thing when people put lyrics in there, especially, in extreme music like this. Because fucking, sometimes I can't understand, because I suck sometimes, yeah. But, but when it's really there, it's like, at least they're published. And, yeah, so, like, total fucking 1-2 shot deal here for me too. Like, yes, abso-fucking-lutely. So if you ever get the chance to see Selfgod live, take the fucking chance and go, because they do put on a great fucking show. But that's not on the only reason why we're here. The other reason is Unholy Altar, and this is from their demo. This is Death Rattle.
Have you ever acknowledged the fact that you're a sinner? Have you ever come to God confessing your guilt? This, you know, is really repentance, and God commanded all men everywhere to repent and to come to the knowledge of the truth. When I take my place before God as a self-confessed sinner, when I cease trying to hide or to cover my guilt, when I acknowledge that I'm just what God says I am, lost and undone, that's repentance. And now repentance.
All right, Maniacs, we're back again this week, and this week kicks ass because this is a first for me. I am being joined by the ladies from Pennsylvania, Philly actually, in Unholy Altar. Ladies, how are you doing?
Pretty good. We're doing great. Thank you.
And you know, by the time this is being recorded, we might be talking into the future. I don't know yet. How is Philly going, like in February right now?
As far as, I guess, weather, it's been really cold. So
it hasn't actually been as bad as some other places, though. A lot of people are getting like really like below zero, like weather and snow. Where actually we haven't got really any snow. And like the sun's been out, so I guess we could consider ourselves lucky right now.
We're just waiting for the perfect opportunity for the snowy weather to have a good photo shoot, because
we're trying to. We were like, come on, we need a little bit of snow because we want to do like a cool photo shoot, you know?
Right. I mean, because you all are a black metal all-female three-piece, which you don't see a lot of.
Yeah, that's true, but we do have a member who is non-binary, so technically,
Excuse me.
all different genders, different types of people in the band.
Okay, excuse me. My mistake and apologies.
No worries at all. No worries at all.
Good. I'm non-binary.
So why don't we go ahead and introduce ourselves?
So my name is Gabby. I play guitar in the band.
My name's Adrian. I do vocals in the band.
And my name's Nat, and I'm the drummer.
Awesome. So give everybody in Metal Forge land a rundown of Unholy Altar.
So we started in October 2 years ago. Started out, we were just, just like we would do like some covers here and there and kind of do our own material and stuff. Just what happens.
Technically, I think Adrian and I started the band, and we were looking for a drummer, and we actually reached out to Nat, and they just happened to have an opening around the time, an opportunity to play drums. So we reached out, and we just wanted to create this project. We weren't really sure where it was going to go. We all come from kind of both punk and metal backgrounds, so we were trying to infuse the two at the moment. And we were just trying to get some songs together and play, a few covers here and there.
We did like a few like Bathory covers and stuff like that to begin with. And then we had a few like lineup changes and stuff like that. But then after that, we played our first show in June of last year. We actually played with Black Knife and Bastard Cross, so that was really cool.
And Dishjon,
yeah, the local homies. So it was a really fun show, and
metal punk night too.
Yeah, we did it was like a metal punk show, and like we're like now like raw black metal, just like kind of like nitty gritty, like just we like to consider ourselves kind of like the Norwegian style, very early on black metal, but and then after we played that show, we played a couple more shows, and we were like, we're feeling this, like we're just going to continue doing, what we love,
Yeah, absolutely. There's been some changes here and there, some lineup changes, some music changes, and things like that. But overall, it's worked out pretty well so far.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, I think when we started, like we were definitely more heavy influenced by punk, like metal punk, but now we're like
just straight up raw, lo-fi, black metal. Yeah, like we have like all kinds of influences, like Dark Throne, Immortal, stuff like that.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And you did throw out a couple of mentions there to some friends of the Metal Forge. Black Knife, Hellwolf is a massive supporter. I know he listens to every episode because he comments to me about how much he listens on his like 50-minute commute to work. So yeah, super cool dude, and obviously Chevy, Chev dude from Bastard Cross and Skulovich, totally rad as fuck too. So
for sure.
So yeah, totally got to get those shout outs out early.
Yeah, definitely.
So in the scene for like raw black metal in like Philly, is it something that are you kind of like one in like 1,000 kind of bands up there, or is there a pretty decent scene of bands for black metal?
Stay with black metal, of course there's in the genre there's so many different subgenres in the scene.
Yeah,
so with
like
black metal you have like black and thrash, you have war metal, you have like the kind of metal we play would also be kind of more Scandinavian, Norwegian black metal. But so in the array of black metal, I would say there's a decent amount in the scene here with that we play. I would say there's maybe 5 bands out there. I don't know, maybe less.
So.
We don't really
There's
like
a bunch of new bands starting.
Yeah, there's a lot of bands coming up, so the scene is up and coming for sure. But it's kind of like everywhere. Black metal is always kind of like spread out everywhere. I've noticed in every city, there's only like a handful. It's not as popular as playing like death metal.
Definitely like a niche type of deal,
Right. So it's like, there's not as many bands popping up as there is punk or like death metal or something like that. But yeah, so, I mean, there's a decent amount, like we said, up and coming. So yeah, it's pretty much like that.
I can totally get behind that, and it seems like that is where it's at as well. Like, you like to throw Black Knife out there again. You know, in Kentucky, there's not another band that sounds like them, in my opinion. You know, and I know they're more of like a black and thrash, but still, it's the scene is, there always is somebody there doing something like black metal related, it seems like.
Right.
Yeah.
Influence.
Which is totally cool, because also, you know, I am a big fan of like mixed bill shows. Like, you can have like a metal punk night kind of thing. And everybody, you know, it's the deal of turning more people on to other genres of metal.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we played some shows where there's some mixed sets of, you know, punk, metal, and there's also been, I mean, the show we played in Miami, there were a few other bands.
We had like kind of
punk night too.
yeah, punk. There were some punk bands.
There was a death metal band, a black and thrash band, and then us, of course.
Yeah.
And London.
Yeah.
That kicks ass. You know, which is interesting to me, because if you, and this is like with anywhere, because Lexington, Kentucky scene is different than Louisville scene, as much as, you know, Philadelphia's scene, it seems like, is so much different than like Pittsburgh's scene.
Right. Yeah.
You know, in Pittsburgh, there's a whole slew of like traditional heavy metal bands, it seems like. And, you know, I'm fascinated by all that. Like, just like different cities where different things are popular, but still have enough of a thread where everybody likes something.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's a lot of variety, which I think is really important, to show, and like you said, people different genres of music. You know, it's good if you, like, we're at a show, we're playing a show and it's not just black metal, because after a while, you know, sometimes it gets a little tiring. So it's like you mix it up a little bit and people are really going to enjoy it. So
definitely. So you all released the EP demo back in October of 22.
Yeah.
So it's labeled a demo, but like in the grand scheme of things, I guess what I'm asking is, a lot of black metal doesn't get much more, I don't want to say polished, because I don't think that's the right word. It doesn't stay, it always stays somewhat kind of raw.
right.
Yeah.
So, is there a chance of, you know, like re-recording this demo and actually making it a full-on like EP or / album later on, or is this just something that is where it's going to stay?
So I think with that demo, that was just like our jumping off point. Like, we wanted to put ourselves out there and have everybody hear what we did, like, because a lot of people, like, we were playing shows before we even released the demo, and a lot of people are like, hey, like, where's your demo at? Like, we want to like buy it. Like, we want to see what you got putting out and stuff. So we kind of made that one kind of quickly. I mean, we loved the demo, but it was like very, like, we just put it out there just to put our names out there. I think we're actually working on a new album, like a full album. Hopefully by the end of the year it will be put out. And that will be like a whole new thing. It's probably going to be recorded a little differently. It's going to have all new songs on it. Style's probably going to stay the same, but like that, like I said, the first demo, love it, but it was like that's what we're starting out with, and then it's going to get like more intense from there. Yeah, I mean, same recording style, sort of.
Yeah, we like the lo-fi.
We love raw, like lo-fi. Like, we want it to sound like an independent, like, released, like nothing. It's not overproduced or anything like that.
Definitely.
We're gonna do it live too now.
Yeah, we're gonna do it live. This one was recorded. Like, we recorded everything separately, the drums, the guitar, and everything. And it sounded really cool, but I think our next step is to do a live recording, so everything's kind of just flowing, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much. I think that's pretty much how we're gonna do it.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, for black metal, is as live as possible with as little overdub as possible, I think is the best way to go, personally, because it's the rawness that I think the genre really bleeds out from.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. We wanted to do like raw, like we love like early, you know, like I mentioned, we're big fans of Dark Throne, early Dark Throne, early Immortal, early like Gorgoroth, Venom and stuff like that. All those bands, it's like when you hear their first like demos and albums and stuff, they're just like, you can barely hear anything. It's so choppy. That lo-fi shit, that Hellhammer shit. Like it's so raw. It's so like, but there's something so pure about it that it's
Pure
just
and
like
evil at the same
pure and evil. Yeah, it's just like we want to sound like people are like, yo, what the fuck? Like they don't know what hit them, you know? Yeah. It's like that's what we love about, you know, playing the style of music we love is that it's just like, and even if it's like not super like maybe something's a little off, it's like it kind of makes it work because you don't want it to sound like. I don't really like a lot of newer, like super. There is a lot of good new black metal bands out there. There really is. But like with the way we record, we don't want it to sound like, oh, this just got put out recently. We want it to sound like it's from the 80s or 90s.
Yeah. You want to hear the tape on it.
Yeah.
And that brings it up to the next thing because obviously the demo is perfect for, you know, a 7-inch disc, you know, with the, you know, with less than 15 minutes or right around 15 minutes of playtime, you know, putting those 4 songs out on a 7-inch would be amazing. Now, have you thought about, now, obviously you all did CD prints of this as well?
We did not do CD.
Okay.
We just did tape, and then we did on our Bandcamp, you can buy like a digital,
right.
But no tape, or no CDs,
Yeah,
okay.
see, not really quite sure whether, I mean, there might be a crowd that I just haven't noticed too many people buying like CDs lately, but like we were more concerned about tapes and then maybe at some point
in the future doing vinyl. Yeah.
Definitely. I am still a CD buyer, but obviously, you know, there's certain things that sound great on CD. There's certain there's certain genres that sound great on, you know, vinyl and tape also. Black metal, obviously, to me is such for vinyl and tape because it lends to the quality, I think.
Like I kind of agree because like with CDs, like one of my favorite albums, like I have it on record too, but I also have it on CD because flipping it over because it merges together so well. And it's like very atmospheric. Like it's kind of annoying to flip it over and like it kills the vibe. So CDs are cool too.
Yeah.
And in the future, definitely like we'll probably put out CDs for sure, records. But our full length has to come out first, I think. For that.
Yeah, definitely.
For our demo, but
yeah,
I don't know if we're gonna re-release that yet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you know, with knowing Hellwolf and Chevy, you know, you've totally got the market cornered with some label entrepreneurs there.
Yeah.
So that's always a good thing. And which, I mean, it's a great thing these days with you don't have to rely on labels to put anything out. You can do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And as long as you're dealing with the, you know, as long as your fan base is there, who gives a shit if Capitol or whoever, you know, whatever major player that's out there today is even interested because you stand a better chance of making it on your own, I think.
Yeah, I think whenever our friends and even acquaintances and just people that heard about us from the internet were reaching out, so many people were like, when are you coming out with a tape? Like so many people that we were just kind of like rushed to put it out because we had so many people asking about us. Like, I mean, we've almost completely sold out of our tape already. It hasn't even been, you know.
Yeah, we haven't even released it that long ago. But yeah, for sure. And as for like a major label and stuff like that too, it's like, I mean, I think we like where we're at right now where we just kind of like did things ourselves. But then like maybe, I don't know, it's like we're obviously not in this for the money. We're just in it to like go places. That's all. Like we want to do big tours. We want to like see a bunch of places and just like play with a bunch of our friends and stuff.
So we're not like opposed to getting signed by a label.
Yeah.
End up happening. If they would get our vision as to how we want to sound.
Exactly.
Definitely. So obviously with doing the album and everything, you said hopefully by the end of the year it's going to be ready.
Yeah, we are
not hopefully by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, we're making it a goal to have it by the end of the year. We already have one new song put out. We got another one in the works. We actually have a couple in the works, but it's like it's a whole process. But it's like we're hoping, like probably maybe around the same time, maybe in October, we'll maybe have a new release. I mean, we already have someone that's like wants to record us and everything, so probably going to be in October. We're hoping, fingers crossed,
right? Sooner, hopefully.
But
I think that should be a goal every year for you all, is to release something in October every year. No, I'm being a smart ass.
Halloween, that would be sick. Like,
because what could be more dependable than a band named Unholy Altar releasing in October? I mean, come on.
For sure, yeah.
Do you all have anything coming up that you want to plug show wise or anything?
Yeah, for sure. So we have 2 shows. We kind of like pushed back a couple of our shows only because we've had a lot of personal things going on. But like so far, we have 2 shows coming up in April. We have one on April 6th, and it's going to be in New Jersey. We have one on the 16th, and that's actually going to be in Philly. It's at a bar called Photo Club. And then we do go on I call it like a mini tour, because it's going to be like a 3-day tour, May 12th through 16th. And we're going to do Pittsburgh, Richmond, and maybe DC and Baltimore. We're kind of planning it out right now, but that's what we have lined up right now.
Dang, if you're doing Baltimore, it's kind of the week before you kind of need to be there.
Right, yeah. Hey, let's not plan it around. Well, they're not having Maryland Death Fest this year. They're doing it next year, but I was like kind of scared that I was like, oh shit, well, if we play around then, like no one's going to come to our show. There's Maryland Death Fest is going on. But it's like there is a fest going on in Baltimore. It's like
Hell in the Harbor.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a lot of homies that are actually playing that show. So I'm like, but it's, good. We're not playing that week, so no, we'll go see our show if it's the same week,
right,
know. But yeah, earlier on, obviously in the month, I feel like that's a good time.
Unless we get...
Unless we hop on that, yeah.
Right. Or I'm sure there's going to be a pre-show, so.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
Oh no, we're ready for that if that comes our way.
Yeah, if that comes our way, yeah.
Hell yeah. My idea of this is what's going to happen, and mark your calendars, call it now, because I'm calling it. Is yes, there's not MDF this year. And they've already announced like 45 bands for next year already. And I bet what's going to happen is this is going to become a week-long death metal fest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually.
Because I'm seriously thinking that it's going to be like Maryland Death Fest will be either on the weekend before and this Hell in the Harbor will be the weekend after, or vice versa. Something next year, I bet, is going to be... It's going to be like a super, super death fest, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of people that go to that. So, I mean, they'd probably be making a lot if they do extend it to like a week instead of like a weekend, because a lot of people from all over the world come out for that. So,
one
day happen.
And could you imagine, like, okay, so you got like all the Danny Wimmer production stuff, like Louder Than Life, Rockville, those 4 Aftershock, those 4-day festival shows, that are, Thursday to Sunday. And there isn't a show really other than like Bloodstock. That's like a 4-day thing overseas like that. I know Wacken is like 3 days, but like where it's like super heavy bands. There's not really anything else other than there's a ton of like individual fests, like 2-day things, but like the big like 4 days, there's not anything like that, which I've always been torn about doing both of those, like a 4-day thing, because it can be exhausting.
Yeah, definitely.
I could see that. I mean, most of the time for Maryland Death Fest, people go and, go every day and they try to go to all the shows and everything. And not spread out too much, but having to do all that all at the same time and doing that for like a week, I could see that being a little tiring, but...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. What's also wild too is I know last year there was a lot of complaints because they changed the location apparently, and it was like an all paved lot this past year, and it was like super hot at the end of May when they did it. It was like close to 100 degrees or something, and people were like really rough about it, I think.
Yeah. We actually, Gabby and I actually went last year, and it was rough. It was very hot. I felt bad. All my friends were like super sunburned and red. I'm like, I came out there. I'm like baptizing myself in sunscreen. Like I knew it was gonna be like real. We were like crispy at the end of it for sure.
Yeah.
Like all outside. Like I think it was like there was no breeze, nowhere to hide. You're just like out exposed to the sun.
You couldn't bring drinks in, and then they charge you for like overcharging.
Yeah, so you're like you're dehydrated. You're burnt up. You're paying $15 for water. It's like rough.
Wow. That's rough. That almost brings back like what is it? Flashbacks of like Woodstock 99 or some shit. $9,000 for a bottle of water.
Yeah, we've been to quite a few music fests, just like festival goers, and like we also would go to Skull Fest, which is more of a punk fest that's in Pittsburgh. But that's also the same thing. Like you think, oh, Pittsburgh, it's always cold there. It's always like dark and dreary. But like during Skull Fest, it's hot as shit. Everybody gets burnt up. Like, hey, that's another one. By the end of it, you're like, I'm sick. I want to go. I want to go home. I'm all burnt up.
Yeah. One of my friends, Paul Caravasi, if you know who he is, he's the guy responsible for Soulgrinder Zine, and he puts on some shows in like Allentown and such. And he was out for Maryland Death Fest last year, and I know he was telling me how rough it actually was, and he wasn't even wearing all black like a lot of the crowd was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll get like anytime you're outside there, it's just like there's no awnings, there's no like trees to hide behind. You're just exposed. Yeah. So it was definitely worth it because it was like really sick, but it was like it was a lot. You have to like take another like couple days off after the fest. Yeah.
Ugh. And I felt that way after one day at Louder Than Life, but that's also because like I made my way into the pit like during Metallica.
Oh, wow.
Shit.
And I'm a big dude, and I seriously thought I was gonna die because it was so hot and so nasty with because this is a 4-day festival, and the people who are there for like the duration, they camp out down at the rail and shit, right?
Yeah.
So they're pissing down there too. So
and you're also like wearing like the least amount of clothes you can. You're wearing like tank top, shorts, whatever, and it's still like.
And there's plenty of people going wild and shit.
Buck wild, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's like, but you're like trying to like wear as limited amount of clothes as possible to try to not be like so hot, but it still doesn't work. It's just like you might as well be like super goth and bring like an umbrella or something.
It's all miserable no matter which way you look at it.
Sure.
So I'm going to go ahead and switch gears here. We're going to ask some general profile questions about you all as people, because that's what we do. We throw things, out there just to see what makes people tick.
For sure, yeah.
If you could have one song on the soundtrack to any movie in history, what would it be?
Oh man!
So
the question. Yeah, well, like, do you mean like
what movie would you have a song in?
Oh man! Well, just like a real movie, or like, are we making up?
No, like a real movie.
Real movie.
So, like,
would have to be like
one of our songs, like from our band.
Yeah,
Okay.
one of your songs in any movie from history. What would you want to have on the soundtrack? You know, what soundtrack would you want Unholy Altar to be part of?
So it has to be like either a horror, like a psychological thriller. It cannot be like a comedy or like a drama. Jen?
Yeah. I mean, Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yeah. Oh, don't they have a Tales from the Crypt movie?
Yeah. No. They. I'm sorry. I was watching like Tales from the Crypt the other day, and like there was like this metal band playing in the background, and I'm like, I was sick. Like,
what was it? Was it Ace Ventura that like was it Cannibal Corpse?
It was Napalm Death.
Napalm
Death.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, they were like. One of them was probably like a heavy metal band. Jim Carrey was rocking out. So like maybe that. No. No. Dang, that's a good question.
Definitely horror movie.
Yeah, definitely horror movie.
Yeah.
It's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That's it.
I mean, that's like one of my favorite horror movies. So maybe because it's pretty brutal.
We all agree. Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yes.
1 or 2.
Even though it's an old movie, it's like from the 70s.
Hell yeah.
Right.
So yeah, definitely TCM would be great. Which I just read a news article about John Larroquette. Actually, when he did the narration for that film, Toby Hooper paid him in weed.
Oh.
to do the narration for TCM, which is great.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Adrian and I was where they filmed Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was it? In Austin?
They
Texas?
filmed it, I believe. It was like outside of, it wasn't Austin, like really far away in Texas. I can't remember where, but it's like they have like a truck that was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and they have like a stand, like
a bench with a plaque on it, and a little gift shop. All Texas Chainsaw Massacre memorabilia.
Yeah.
Yep. And actually, go back if the listeners will go back through the archives and listen to the John McEntee episode from Incantation. He tells a story about how he was married at the gas station in TCM.
Oh, damn. Goals, you know.
Hell yeah. And honestly, for me, to answer that same question, because I like to do that too, if I could pick any movie that a song of mine would be in, I would pick the cantina scene in Star Wars Episode 4, because everybody remembers that scene.
Is that the scene where they're like, doo, 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 doo?
Yep, that's exactly right.
Hell yeah. The rules.
What do you think is a major misconception that, quote, regular people have about being a musician?
So, like, one thing I would say, I mean, I guess this kind of follows along with that question, is I know a lot of the people, like, if they think you're, like, a musician, that automatically means you're, like, a rock star and you're, like, famous or something. Yeah. I know that sounds weird, but, like, I'll like, tell people at work, I'm just like, yeah, I play in a band, whatever, because they'll be like, oh, blah, blah, and they'll be like, yeah, my band. They'll be like, whoa, you're a rock star. You're going to make it big someday. You're going to be like, and I was like, whoa, what?
We are rock.
I mean, we are rock stars, duh. We are gonna make it big someday. But you know, it's like, I don't know. A lot of people will be like, "Oh, like you're a musician, so you're obviously gonna like be like, I don't know, like rich." And
but then you see it on the opposite end of the spectrum, where people like who maybe have been musicians in the past or have seen bands and stuff are like, "Oh, well, you're so obviously you don't do anything. You're probably poor, and you're never gonna go anywhere."
That's all your life is revolved around, which I mean, kind of our band is, but you know, but it's a side part of our lives, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah. I think on the note of that also one of the aspects of that, Adrian and I identifying as females, it really sucks because a lot of the times males, whenever they talk to us, they assume that like, we don't know how to play our instruments or things like that. We get that a lot. So, always like, oh, you play guitar? Well, this and that. And, they haven't even seen me play or heard my stuff. So,
yeah, there's a little bit of misogyny for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
And fuck that.
Yeah, for real.
Because there are women instrumentalists out there and that would completely blow me the fuck away.
Right.
Like, I feel like I'm the guy who just gets by playing music, where some people that I've seen are just like, holy shit.
Right. Yeah.
So with a show, you know, do you eat before you go on stage?
Wow, actually, that's a really good. I actually do really like that question. Yes, it's like, well, Nat doesn't.
I will puke, and it's happened before.
Yeah. Oh, that's a classic.
You should work that into the stage show.
When we played in Miami, it was like, man, we were like all like super nervous because it was like, we knew the show was gonna like be awesome. Like, had a bunch of homies at the show, and we Miami's great and everything. But anyway, so we were like all nervous, and that had not eaten anything.
Well, we all made a bunch of snacks. And
just
I love
snacks,
and I was pretty stoned. And then I was when I was on stage. After our first song, like, I belted it all out, really playing the drums now. And then after this song, I was like, fuck, I gotta puke. And my puke filled up my mouth. And then I looked around, I'm like, that line for the bathroom looks long. So I looked for something to puke in, and I found my sock. So I puked in the sock.
Oh!
Eating before I play.
It's so funny because, you know, I'm like, you know, we're like in between, like, it's like after one of our song ends, and I just like look over and I see Nat, and they're like, kind of just looks like they're almost like drinking a bottle of water. So I was like, okay, getting hydrated, sick, you know.
Or not, if you can Nat.
Yeah, and then I'm like, okay, but then I didn't even think anything happened, but I heard people like whispering. I was like, what are they whispering about? Like, and then later on, it's like, oh, okay, I see. And then everyone was like, you know, Nat,
Like, cheered me on.
Oh my God.
But
it's like, but also point being, it's like we do, I mean, me, Adrian, and Gabby, we do have to eat. I feel like we get like low blood sugar if we don't like eat. I do like to have at least like a light meal, maybe a salad, sugary snacks, some soda, some candy, and stuff like that. We'll do that before we play the show, because if I'm like starving, I'm gonna probably like pass out on stage. So that, for us at least, you know, we do have to have something in our stomach, because, you know, also like being nervous is like a thing when you're playing a big show, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. No, I can totally relate to the, you know, like possibly the blood sugar issues and needing to be, you know, I think it's just as well as being like well hydrated before you play, because the worst thing in the world is fucking sucking in hair and already having a dry mouth. So
yeah.
And if you go, like, because it can be, you know, we all see bands out there who are extremely physical on stage. They go crazy, they headbang, they're all over the stage. I'm one of them, and not having enough, you know, caloric intake to build that energy up, because you expel just so much on stage.
Right, for sure.
Stay hydrated or you'll get dehydrated.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. And for the record, I am going to say this. That is my new favorite story on this show. My previous favorite story was Demolition Man Tony Dolan from Venom Inc. telling me about how he inadvertently stole a Castle Grayskull in 1982. Because I'm a huge Masters of the Universe fan, but now puking in a sock takes the top chart.
Ain't easy being sleazy. You gotta do it.
I mean, after everybody told me what had happened, because I didn't know, you know, after I was like, whoa, Nat handled that like a damn pro. Yeah, like,
rodeo.
Didn't skip a damn beat. You know, that's why we love Nat, because it's like, just like anything happens, they just like roll with it. Like, they don't like, oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. You know, it's just like, okay, that happened. Let's go, you know, which, I mean, that's what you're supposed to do as musicians. You can't just be like, oh shit, I fucked up. Like, you know.
Yeah, that was sweet. Thank you.
We love you, Nat, you know.
What band do you think should have a much larger following than they do?
Oh shit. Were we about to name drop?
Sure.
Are we saying any type of genre, or just the genre we're in, or
no, any band that you want? If you think Metallica needs a bigger following, you can say them. I mean,
yeah. I mean, we love Metallica, but I would say Oh man, you guys, like, what would y'all think?
I don't even know.
Wait a minute for that one.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
For like maybe like I don't know if we should plug like a newer band, maybe.
Sure. Like, is there any that we've played with or that?
Oh, what was that one band we played?
Certificado?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, they roll. Okay, so there's like two bands I'm gonna name drop. Actually, they're actually both Jersey bands. Well, one's like some of the members are Jersey, but that band
Certificado.
Homies from North Jersey. We played with them in Trenton last year, and very cool people. And we definitely made friends with them afterwards, and they played a really good set. Their music's super cool. The other band I would like to name drop is Contusion, which they're a death metal band. My partner sings in the band, and they're just like really good, like fucking, like they just death metal, like good raw death metal. So I would say them, but yeah, I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, absolutely. So I have one more question, but before we get into it, let's say there are always links listed in the description below. So please give a like, a share, and a follow. You know, go buy the stuff on Bandcamp. When you see their name come up for a live show, go fucking see this band because they completely kick ass. Do you all have any shout outs you would like to give today?
But
We're all just like, what?
Yeah. Like, I guess it doesn't matter if it's like a band or...
It could be anybody you want.
shout out Gabe.
We'll just shout out all our like partners. No, well, I guess like could we plug like our stuff?
Of course.
Okay, so like yeah, for sure. I'm like, oh no, I put it on the spot here.
You're the spotlight of this episode, so of course plug your stuff.
So like I do want to plug our Instagram because that's kind of where we do a lot of like our marketing and stuff like that. It's just like unholy.altar. And if y'all want to follow us, that'd be sick. We have a demo on that. It's like a digital demo on Bandcamp. The link for our Bandcamp is on our Instagram page. We do actually have merch for sale, but you just have to order it through our Instagram page. We're just doing it through Instagram right now. And then we are going to be coming out with new shirts when we do our little mini tour and probably some new merch and stuff like that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, final question of the day is, do you ever struggle with self-doubt about your music career or abilities? And if you do, how do you overcome to keep going?
Well, it's like, do we each want to answer this? Because I feel like
Yeah.
a different aspect. Because for me, I do sometimes struggle with, oh, am I a good guitarist? Or, oh, am I playing the best way I can? And then just like in music in general, I just want to sound good. I think every musician struggles with that. And I mean, to this day, people could tell me that we're an amazing band and stuff like that, but you still have your doubts. But I think, listening to my stuff, if I was like an outsider, I'm like, oh yeah, band rips.
Also, Gabby's like come a really long way because it's like from playing like punk riffs to like metal. Like
yeah,
it's like
Gabby has the riffs, too.
she got the riffs, and it's like, damn, it's like it's playing black metal is very like specific, and you really gotta know your shit. You gotta be good,
Yeah.
So it's like she's come a long way. And I feel like she's like really, really at the point where everything she's putting out now, I'm like, yo, this sounds like amazing.
Yeah, everyone that's been eavesdropping too, like on our practices, because we practice in basements and
Yeah.
They also
Random
say,
spots.
hey, yo, them riffs that Gabby's bringing.
Yeah. Absolutely. I guess for me, just like singing in the band, I mean, I do like sometimes like get nervous, like am I doing everything to my full potential? Like I always want to make sure I have a really good stage presence. That's really important to me. I mean, of course, like sometimes you get on stage and you're like not like feeling it or something, but for the most part, I try to give the people like what they want to see. I feel like when you're seeing a band live, you want to see entertainment. You're there to see a show. You're not there to just like, just do whatever, just stand there and be like, oh, okay, that's cool. So it's like, I don't know. I just always try to live up to my full potential. I try to be like as active as I can on stage, and I try to make sure I'm always working on getting my vocals up to par so I can sound good live and sound good for recordings. And I mean, so far so good, you know?
Yeah.
What about you, Nat?
What was I gonna say?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's natural to like sometimes have thoughts of like self-doubt, and I do have that. And well, I try to overcome it just because I want to be the best musician possible. But I do not have any doubt like about this band, Unholy Altar. Like,
Yeah.
everything. But
We all love this band so much.
Yeah.
this is our fucking baby.
Yeah. The thing that I like the most is that, you know, we don't just get compliments on the band, but even friends and just like random individuals that have gone to our shows and stuff, they always mention us individually as good musicians. You know, I hear all the time, oh, Adrian's vocals are, you know, my guitar riffs, or then Nat, like, you know, amazing drummer. So I love that.
We put a lot of effort into this band too. Yeah, we put a lot into this band. So even if it's not everybody's cup of tea, because not everybody likes black metal, you know, I get that. It's a niche genre. It's just like we put a lot of work into it. It's like our baby, you know.
If at least people can see that the work we put in, if above anything, even if they don't like the genre, then that's great to me.
Yeah, even if they're just supportive as us as human beings, you know, that's awesome. I mean, we as musicians, that's all we need, you know.
And I love our music, and if you love our music too, then hell yeah, buy our record.
Yep.
Come to our shows.
Yeah, come to our shows. That's like the real deal. I know, for real. I'm like, can I exit my body and watch myself? Yeah, astral project to see our band play. Because I would love, if I wasn't in the band, I'd be like obsessed #1 fan. You know?
Right? Awesome. Thank you all so much for coming onto the Metal Forge this week. This has been a blast. Lots of laughs, great fun. On our way out from the demo, what would you like to play today?
I feel like everybody really likes Pestilence, so it's like I feel like that's the song. If anything, that's the one that's gonna hit the mark. You know.
Awesome. So from Unholy Altar, this is Pestilence.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Set back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Hey Metalheads, it's with great pleasure I get to tell you guys about a new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Ageless Art, New Albany. After 20 years of owning and operating Ageless Art in Clarksville, Indiana, Phil Garrett had a vision for a new type of tattoo studio. Something that is clean and modern, sleek, refined, inviting. And he's done just that with Ageless Art in New Albany. You can find it at 2736 Charlestown Road, New Albany, Indiana, 47150. Business hours are Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Sundays are 12 to 6. All sessions are appointment only, so give them a call and go get you some new ink. Or if it's your first time, go get your first one, baby. Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soulgrinder Zine, an independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.